Hey everybody, I'm Dave, that's Scott. Welcome to Old Ass Movie Review. This week we're going to be we're going to be reviewing They Live, John Carpenter movie from 1988, I believe. But before we get to that, I want to talk real quick, Scott, if you don't mind. I haven't watched the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
But I started watching Zack Snyders
Jack is his
Justice
lesser
League.
known third cousin.
Yeah, his lesser known third cousin, Jack. I'm about 45 minutes into it, maybe half hour,
Hmm
45 minutes into it. Uh, it seems okay. I don't know what the hoopla is so far, other than the last movie I refused to see because it just looked so bad. And the fact that Joss Whedon had anything to do with it, I'm not a big Joss Whedon fan to begin with. I
hmm
think he's a horrible actor and
You
just
mean director?
not an actor, director, just a horrible director. I think the best thing he did was The Vampire Hunter.
I think Firefly was great.
Did he do
But
Firefly? Yeah, I
he
have
did
yet
Firefly,
to
yeah.
see Firefly. I'm just not a big fan of that cat's. He's just one of those guys who just should probably be quiet and just do a job instead of talk so much. But I've seen what I've seen of the Zack Snyder so far is okay.
hmm
I don't know what the hoopla is. Um, I'm gonna ask you, have you've watched part of it? I know, or
I'm
most of
about halfway through. I did see the original Justice League movie,
it.
and
Okay,
I'm just gonna put it out there. I am not a huge DC comic person, so I don't know when they go off the range with something crazy or if it doesn't
right.
work. You sent something to me and said that the mother boxes were actually small like
Oh,
Rubik's
those
cubes.
the mother
Those are
boxes.
motherfucking boxes there.
These are motherfucking boxes. These things are huge. I mean,
Yeah.
like I would have a hard time picking one up and carrying it, like as luggage.
Yeah.
The mother boxes in the movie are huge. In the comic book, Jack Kirby made them very small, like maybe the
Yeah.
size of a Rubik cube, something you could carry on your person because they create boom tubes in the comics. I haven't got quite as far as I need to in the movie.
Yeah.
In the comic, they create a boom tube you can step through to go to Darkseid's Apocalypse
hmm
or the New Gods world or wherever you want
Right.
to go. Evidently, they can take you anywhere.
But see,
Um,
because I didn't know that,
mhm.
there's a lot of stuff that canon that I don't know.
Right.
So I didn't think the Justice League movie was horrible, the Josh Whedon one. I just thought it was incredibly rushed, was missing a lot of stuff, and it's like
Mhm.
this was just like slapped together. Let's put as much stuff as we can. And
Right.
now I'm about halfway through Zack Snyder's, and I'll be honest, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing,
Right.
but
Okay. Cool.
it's slow.
Right.
It's This would have better been a mini series over 5 or 6 episodes, 40 minutes a pop, because
Right.
he's got so much exposition in here,
Hmm.
which is cool. I'm seeing so much more that was left out. I mean, and characters that are not
Right.
in the original are now in this, and it's actually pretty cool.
That's
I'm
good.
enjoying it, but it's not like, oh my god. It's because I don't have a huge amount of knowledge on it, but
Right.
it's hard. It's been hard for me to make it through because it's so slow. But I'll kick it on, watch about 30 minutes, and then go on about my business and come back to it.
Th-
So
That's kind of where I was going to be because I looked at that. I was like, a 4 hour sit's going to be real hard for me because anybody who sees this, what we do on YouTube, sees how much I fidget. I'm a fidgeter. I move around a lot. Like I am not going to sit there and watch a 4 hour movie. I
well,
just
no,
can't. Lord of the Rings, I must have got up and went pee like 5 times in the last episode, and it was still ending by the time I got back.
I watched one weekend. My wife was out of town, and I sat down in the morning and I started the extended cut trilogy.
Oh shit!
So it was probably, I think clocks in 13, 14 hours or whatever.
Oh
I
Lord!
watched the whole damn thing. I
Oh
can't
God!
I can't do that to this.
Right, right,
Now I did get up and take a few breaks, but that day I watched the whole extended cuts, and because those are just awesome movies.
right. The main villain in this so far, the guy in all the armor and the spiky, who showed up
Steppenwolf.
on, yeah, Steppenwolf. coming from old school comic book, hate that good freaking design. I hate it.
Hmm.
That's not. I look at that guy. I'm like, that's not Steppenwolf. That guy's like 15 feet tall. What? Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
It took me a few minutes to remember that Steppenwolf. That's who that guy was. And I'm like, oh, he's horrible. Now I know right now anybody who's listening to this that's a Zack Snyder fan and thinks he can do no wrong is going to be freaking out, going, "You don't know, you don't know." Well, I do know. I'm an old guy. I was there through the original stuff that Jack Kirby wrote. Go read a comic book. Go read Jack Kirby's stuff. Don't read the crap that's being made in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Go old school. Go there and see what Darkseid really was. Darkseid was a bastard, even in those comics.
Yeah.
So I seen that and I'm like, oh boy, I wonder what Granny Goodness is going to look like. Are they even going to show Granny Goodness? I don't know. Are they going to introduce the femme fatale, lethal, like what the hell were they called? I think they were called the femme fatales, something like that. Where the Big Barda? I don't know. Are they going to have all these
Big
people
Bertha. Yeah, they'll have Big Bertha. And Mama Jugs and Speed, too.
No, Big Barda was like this
I'm
big
sorry.
Mother Jugs and Speed. The well, Jello pudding. Right now, there's some people that have like under 40 have no idea what the hell we're talking about. That's like what
Vague
Mother
fucking
Jugs
reference.
and Speed? What? But yeah, just you aged us. Thank you. What? That's what we're old guys. We do this.
Sorry, I've got a Dukes of Hazzard marathon waiting on me right now.
Oh, I love the Dukes of Hazzard. Those Duke boys. No, so far I'm enjoying it, but I don't like how big the mother boxes are. They're just huge. They're like
Mhm.
they seem to be about half the size of this room at this point.
They're big. They're big.
And then Steppenwolf, I had a problem with his design. Steppenwolf just looked like in the comic book
He's weird.
he was designed after a swashbuckler. That's what he looked like. He was a human looking guy. And
What
he
the
had the
fuck?
goatee and the sword. He was kind of
Now
a
he's
pansy.
some Thanos-looking creature.
No, this guy, yeah, that's what I thought of. I'm like, why did they make him so big? What to make him like imposing? Steppenwolf had armies. That's what made him imposing. I mean, he was a bastard. He was a cowardly kind of a guy. They all wind up being cowardly at one point, except Darkseid. But that's just how they were in the comic. So I didn't understand the whole why they felt like they had to make him CGI. I don't know. So far, I'm enjoying it. I dig the Themyscirians, the Amazons.
That's one of the things that I really liked was near the beginning with Wonder Woman and the hostage situation.
Right.
She was killing motherfuckers.
I didn't mind her kill, but
I loved it. They were sliding on the wall, and it's like,
too.
It's like, damn, Diana.
She almost kills all the cops too.
Yeah, but it was awesome. And then she blasts that fucker right through the wall, and just like
there's nothing left to him.
I was like, damn, that's she's been around hundreds of years or 1,000 or so. She don't give a shit anymore. She's fresh out of ducks.
My biggest concern is Batman trying to put together the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Batman is not a joiner. He's definitely not a team builder.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't count Robin, all the Robins, Batgirl, Batwoman, Alfred, anybody that he tagged up with in the Bold, any of that, no.
Yeah.
But his character doesn't go and build a team on purpose, and that was my one problem.
Yeah.
However, I did like the conversation that he has with Aquaman so far. But that's like, for me, it's little stuff. I'm trying to separate the comic from the person who obviously never read a fucking comic and wrote this.
Yeah.
But somebody said, here are the characters and this is what they do. This is their main objective. And the guy went, oh, okay. And wrote a comic.
I do really like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah. Warner Brothers or Paramount or whoever owns this right now has screwed up horribly, in my opinion. I'll never go see another Batman movie with the way they're treating it. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sparkly Vampire Guy is not doing it for me. Just not going to do it for me. I'll never buy him as Bruce Wayne, and I'll never buy him. I didn't like the last guy that they had. The guy who talked like this, whatever he
Oh,
was.
Christian Bale. Yeah.
Yeah, was
Couldn't
not a
understand
big
him.
Christian Bale
Yeah.
Batman fan. I just don't. I don't think he ever fit the part. To me, I looked at him and I was like, no, just not. You're not Batman. You're just not.
Yeah.
Best Batman so far, still Michael Keaton.
Amen.
And
Can I
then
get a witness?
Yeah, exactly. But that's me. Again, old guy
I'm with you.
talking. Take it for what you will.
I'm with you.
Um,
There's
Go
one
ahead.
more movie I'd like to talk about before we start the review.
Oh, okay.
Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I love seeing the destruction of Pensacola.
Didn't look like Pensacola, but okay.
There were actually a few scenes that could have passed, and I was in shock that they went and at least grabbed a few things that looked like Palafox at night.
Really? Did they?
With
I didn't see anything.
there were
Cat and I
people
were-
eating a la carte outside, and
I saw
or
that.
al
And I'm like,
fresco or whatever.
where's that supposed to be, though? I'm
It
like,
looked
where-
like
that-
it
could
looked
be
like
anywhere.
Palafox. Yeah, there was a few scenes that looked like could have been Main Street.
Okay.
So yes, it wasn't Pensacola, but it's like, okay, it was passable.
Go ahead.
Janine said the most unrealistic thing about that whole scene with Pensacola was not the giant lizard. It was there's a huge advanced cybernetic
Tech laboratory.
yes. If anybody knows about where we live, it's the not even the armpit of Alabama. We are in the butthole of Alabama, lower Alabama, Florida Panhandle.
I love it here. I want everybody. I actually
Look,
love it.
I love it here too,
moved
dude.
here.
It's gorgeous here. The weather's great. I mean, we're rebuilding now after the giant lizard came and fucked everything up.
Yeah.
But
It was lizard season, though. They were
it was
warned.
lizards. They were warned. Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was. Now, here's another one. I haven't seen all the old Toho Godzilla films and stuff.
Okay.
But I
We're gonna
enjoyed this.
watch the old '90s stuff. I got all the old '90s stuff. I'll watch all that.
Cool. So, did you
I-
like this?
I love the King Kong and Godzilla fight scenes. I don't believe King Kong would have stayed on that barge, but whatever.
No.
A barge. But anyway, we'll get past that. All folks, if you're looking for a story, like an
forget
actual story, forget it. This thing is so full. This is Swiss cheese storytelling, man. It's got so many holes in it that there's not a plot to be found in this fucking thing.
There's a fight though, and that's
There's
all
a
that
big
matters.
King Kong Godzilla fight in it, and which is cool. And I love kaiju fights.
Yeah.
But here was my problem with the thing in Pensacola. Evidently, somebody didn't do their geology tests, because these guys drill down 33 stories straight down. They're in that super mecha lab in Pensacola. Now, if anybody knows anything about where we live in Pensacola,
We're in the swamp.
it's a swamp. If you dig 20 feet, if you dig 10 feet, you're hitting water.
Yes.
We're right below the sea level.
Yeah,
So
that was my first thought when
lot.
they headed for the basement. It's like, guys.
And then I want to know about that other tube that took them to Hong Kong. Didn't that go through the center of the earth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, why were they having such trouble getting there in the first place then? Why did they have to follow King Kong?
You're looking.
These are my problems with the story.
They had to follow King Kong so we could get the whole Hollow Earth conspiracy out.
Well, they evidently went through it. Anyway, the Hollow Earth was there. The guy had already known that it was there because he found it. If he built it, unless that it was running along the surface. But then how did he get to the ocean?
I got the impression it was a straight shot to Hong Kong.
Yeah, so did I. So if that's the case, he didn't need the other half of the people going to Hollow Earth.
Man,
This is what I'm talking about, like the Swiss cheese storytelling in this. There's some stuff in there that I watched and I'm like, wait, I mean, usually I get lost in the moment and I'm not, okay, I'm just going to enjoy this. And then it takes me a minute to think about it and go, well, why would they do that? This one, while it was happening, I'm like,
yes.
No, You
Yeah.
can't dig that far in this state. You can't dig that far anywhere in freaking Florida.
No. No, and that was funny. Um, and I get exactly what you're saying. I put off watching this. Was like, okay, I really don't care. I don't, it's going to be bad or whatever. And I started watching it,
Uh,
and I just got sucked in. And I'm going to tell you, for me,
I enjoyed it.
spoilers, folks. When Mecha Godzilla showed up, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that they did a good job, man. No, like I said, I went for this for the kaiju.
Yeah,
I,
you
was
got
afraid that
kaiju.
this was going to be a bad story, and it was. Um, he, my biggest problem with, other than the digging down and the tunnel going through the center of the earth that didn't exist, is when the little girl who saved the world from all the freaking kaiju like 2 years ago and finally figures out how to defeat the big three-headed monster thing and
Yeah,
tells Godzilla, goes, this is how you do it, Godzilla, or whatever she did, goes to her dad and says, hey dad, there's a problem on
and
this
he
base
ignores
of
her.
this company. He ignores, no, there's no problem here, honey. Your little girl who just saved the world from 500 kaiju come to
Yeah,
you and says, dad, I think there's a problem with the kaiju and I think it's at this base. You're going to listen to her. I don't give a shit who you
yeah,
are. Now
I
they could have
agree.
had him start looking into things and for whatever reason get pulled away. I
That
would
was a
have bought
misstep.
that. But to just ignore his daughter,
I thought that was
no.
strange as well. Yeah, that
No,
was like, what the fuck?
that was just that's little things, but boy, when the big things show up,
It was
all
awesome.
hell's breaking loose. I
It
love the
was
little
awesome.
girl who's speaking sign language.
Yes.
I'm hoping that everybody's seen this movie by the time this comes out.
By the
So
time this comes
big
out,
spoilers.
you've had your chance.
Yeah,
um,
it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to tell you everything that happens in it, but I think they set up for another movie,
yeah.
definitely. And God only knows what they're going to pull out in this one.
I-
They look like they're setting up, to me, the way I'm looking at it, they look like they're setting up for a 90s Toho idea,
It may
which
be.
was Aliens.
Gonna be cool. Gonna be cool. All right. So let's get to our movie
The
of the
movie we're here
day.
to review.
Yeah. We just talk about others, and that's fine too. But I saw this movie back in the 80s when it came out. They Live, starring Rowdy Roddy Piper and very young Keith David.
I know,
Um,
right?
yeah, two great actors put together. I won't say great actors, great pairing of people. Keith David is definitely a well seasoned actor now,
Mhm.
and he was good in this. Roddy Piper is a wrestler. He had his
Yeah,
moments.
he was actually a good actor.
Yeah, he
I
was.
mean,
Yeah, I'm not
I
going to
was
say great, but yeah,
I could have seen him doing more movies. I don't know if he ever did another movie.
he might have. But he was great for this part. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I got this weird Snake Plissken, Jack Burton vibe from
Oh
Roddy
yeah.
Piper.
Oh yeah. I definitely got that vibe. And the music, that music was right out of
That's
Escape from New York,
that's
just
Carpenter.
directly out of it.
It's every
Um,
time, man.
I love when when he finally gets the glasses on. This is what made me think he was a better actor than most. Because he's got the glasses on and he's seeing what the real world is showing you.
Hmm.
Obey, marry, reproduce, all the
Sleep.
message. Yes, sleep 8 hours. Message. All the conspiracy theories come to light, and he doesn't just put the glasses on and see that and then go, oh well, I'm gonna go fight crime
No,
now.
he's like,
He's kind of freaked out over this. He's like, what the? He's taking the glasses off, putting them on. He's looking at people. He's like, and then it's starting to dawn on him what he's seeing.
yeah,
And what I think the one guy had already mentioned it to him, what was going on, the old blind guy,
yeah,
the old blind preacher.
yeah,
So he's kind of figuring it out like, oh, this is big. This is
yeah.
way big.
So let me give a quick synopsis of this movie for those listening. This is an alien invasion movie, but aliens have already been here.
Mhm.
They've been
For
here
a
a
while.
while, and they have incorporated themselves or assimilated themselves into our daily lives. And they are mining the planet for resources, so they just treat us like third world, take everything and move on to the next.
Hmm.
But in order to do so, they have manipulated the populace for rich people to get richer by joining with them, and they help them and promote and everything, and while keeping the middle class and the poor down and as sheep and blind to everything. And one of the things that's really neat about this is near the beginning when Roddy Piper meets up with Keith David,
Hmm.
and he's talking about, I don't remember exactly what went down, but he says, I'll get there. I'll get somewhere because I work hard and I
Right.
still believe in this country.
Right.
That's the American dream. That's what everybody is sold. Anybody can do anything. And Keith David's character is like, that's not how this works. So it's
Right.
neat to see at one point they actually kind of switch places.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really cool. What happens though is the main character, Roddy Piper, finds a group of resistance fighters who have developed glasses that allow you to see what's really out there. And once he does, all hell starts breaking loose.
Hmm. That's very, very well put. And I'm Scott and I always destroy movies for people.
Yes.
I really don't want to give away the entire ending of this. I probably will by the end of the conversation, but it's pretty cool. It's a good movie.
It's a damn good movie.
When he gets the guns and he goes into the bank, I
I
am here
love
to
that. That's one of my
chew
favorite
bubblegum
scenes.
and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
That was a Jack Burton moment if I've ever
Yep.
seen it. The only thing is
Yep.
he didn't fumble the guns.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Burton. Oh, that's funny. Jack
Now,
Burton in Escape from New York.
I got to tell you, there's a scene in the alleyway when
Oh
they're
my God!
running.
In a fight?
Yeah, no, not that part, but when they're being attacked by all the police
Right.
and people are shooting, and one of the resistance fighters is this Chinese guy who was in Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh
He's
no
in
shit!
almost.
Oh my God, you're right.
I saw
know
his
who you're
hair.
talking with the long mustache and the long stringy
and
hair.
the long hair.
Shit, that's funny. Oh
I was like,
my
oh
God, that is
shit.
so funny.
Yeah, so of course Carpenter's going to pull all his people in, so it was neat to see that.
Yeah, not fumbling the guns is a bonus for this character.
Yeah, I thought for sure, but that was cool, to have the other people show up. That somebody I recognize from
That's
Big
funny.
Trouble in Little China.
That's very funny.
But that is a great scene. He just goes in and just starts whacking motherfuckers.
Oh yeah,
Because he can
just
see him. He's like, when he runs into the convenience store and he's talking to that old lady alien. Oh, formaldehyde head.
You look like formaldehyde head. And she lifts up. He can see us. We got the white, Caucasian male, blonde hair. He can
And
see us. He's
sunglasses.
wearing sunglasses. I like the side effect of the sunglasses. Like when you take sunglasses off, he's holding his eyes. He's like, oh man, they really hurt your head to be able to see the truth so bad. Which is it's a little poke when you learn the truth. Sometimes it hurts.
You know what? I've made a decision. I will not spoil the ending of this movie because it was one of the nice surprises.
Yeah, I think I guessed it, but I didn't want to give it away.
I'm not going to give it away.
I was hoping I was wrong, kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. It took me off guard, and I still love how it ended.
The fight scene in the alley. Now, over the years, I've heard and I've seen little bits and pieces of this movie, so I basically knew what the movie was about going in. I've never seen it. Like I was watching it the other day, and I'm convinced I've never seen this movie before because everything was so new to me. But the fight scene, I read a little something, and I forgot where I read it, probably on Amazon, that Keith David and Roddy Piper put that fight scene together. They choreographed.
It's phenomenal.
In Carpenter's backyard. And Carpenter had originally only wanted 20, like that was only supposed to last like a 20-second deal.
Oh hell no, we got
a short fight.
We got the biggest fight in the movie in an alleyway.
Other than the punches to the face and the kicks to the groin, every punch was real.
Wow.
Like all the rest of the kicks, all that, like the punches to the side were all real. They actually were hitting each other.
Well, that's amazing. I mean, you knew Piper could take a hit, but to see Keith David jump right in there with a world-class athlete.
didn't realize how
Yeah.
big he was.
Yeah, he's a
He
big
was a big
dude.
guy. Now I'm sure they weren't like, full
Yeah,
force
but
punches. But dude,
it
that'd be
looked
like me
real.
and you getting into the ring and doing like 1/3 punches to each other. We'd both be like, "Oh, stop it!
Yeah,
Just stop hitting me!
please.
Stop hitting me, you bitch!"
Yes. Yeah, that just wouldn't. That's just not gonna fly.
No,
Um,
no. I mean, those two guys. I mean, and then you see those groin kicks, and it's like it looks like they're really. I've seen some fake ones in movies that you're like, "Oh,
yeah.
that looks like it could hurt," but these ones look like they're freaking making contact.
Well,
And I'm
if you
like,
want a fight to look real, you get people
yeah,
who they do that for a living. He's used to making fake fights look real,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
That
awesome.
was and it lasted 5 minutes, and it was, it was supposed to be a short one. And
I
Roddy
was
and I guess Roddy and Keith were like, "No, this is what we got. This is what we want to do," and they choreographed it for a while. So
it's
when they went
perfect.
to shoot it, it was a real quick shoot, from what I understand. And
Yeah,
they're
that
rolling around in puddles and shit, and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
that's well done. I looked and didn't see any mats, anybody falling on any. It was
Right,
well done,
right.
very
Yeah,
well
that
done.
was very well done. He finally
That's
gets him to
probably
put.
one of the. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say he finally gets him to put the glasses on so he can see the truth.
Yeah, finally. My
Yeah, he
God, he
didn't
was
like
so
that.
resistant. See, he knew this that was what was crazy, and that's where I say they kind of switched spots
Uh,
because he knew that we're kind of being controlled by the man. He didn't
right.
realize it was aliens,
Yeah,
but that was he resisted it. No, I don't want to. So I think Carpenter's playing with a lot of stuff here.
definitely.
There is a very big social commentary, and I'm going to jump
And
ahead a little bit. Huh?
I was just gonna say it fits today. It fits
It fits
today
today. Absolutely fits today.
tremendously.
Another person around this time who was doing big social commentary was George Romero.
Yeah.
And there is a scene in a bar near the very end. You hear a talk show host or whatever talking about movies today are pushing it too far, and John Carpenter and Romero need to rein it in. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. They must have been buddies, man. They must have
Yeah.
been buddies.
So that
But
was that was
yeah,
cool.
there's a
But yes,
lot of.
everything fits today.
I was going to say there's a lot of symbolism in this movie, and folks, you can do a lot worse than See They Live. I put off. I don't know why I put it off for so many years. It's just a movie that my buddy Dave didn't drag me to go see, I guess. When we were growing up, because it seems like I've seen all these movies. Most of the movies that you and I see that are kind of monstery and
Yeah.
horror zombie type stuff is all stuff I was kind of forced to go see. Like, can't we go see, like, romantic comedy in the next? No, we're going to see the zombie movie. Okay, I'm going to see zombie movies. Yeah, it was that guy who wanted to go see the romantic
You want to see the rom
comedy.
com? Oh no, we're going a zombie rom com. There we
Yeah,
go.
there you
And they have
go.
them.
Yeah, now they do.
Yes,
But yeah, it was very interesting to see all of the the social commentary.
a
But I
lot.
never, I mean, maybe it's the way he told it. I just never felt beat over the head.
You didn't have to. And that I think that's what was. It's masterfully done. It's artfully done.
Hmm.
It's not. I never felt preached to. I
Right,
felt like
right.
wow. And then it makes me think. It's like they really are lizard people.
Yeah, or whatever the hell those things were.
Yeah, but I mean,
Um,
today the people in
it
power
could be.
really are lizards. Yeah.
So you haven't watched what's the name of that movie? Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. It's a documentary. Close
No,
Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Watch it. It's on Amazon. You want to get into some conspiracy
I
stuff, and
might have seen that.
no, you would have talked to me about it if you'd have seen it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to put it in my queue like right now.
And there's another one called
I've heard
Acknowledged.
of it then.
Acknowledged, I think is what it's called. Is the first one, and then Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. I watched it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm gonna have to
2020.
watch it again because I'm like, I was watching it, and by the time I was over, I was like, oh yeah, I can see all of this stuff happen. If I would have watched it 20 years ago, I would have went, get the fuck out
All
of
right, I
here.
want to watch that. I may have to
Yeah,
watch
I
that
would have.
tonight.
You'd have looked at it 20 years ago and went, this guy's nuts. You're
Okay.
gonna watch it now, and you're gonna be like, Shit, he might be onto something.
Well, I mean, and that's the take I got from this movie, and that's what you're right. It had a message. There's a lot of social commentary. This
Mm,
was done in the '80s. This tells me
yeah.
nothing has changed.
Oh no, no,
Nothing.
no. Politicians are still politicians.
Yeah, rich
Uh,
people want to be richer,
and you
and
know what? I got no problem with somebody, and I'm going to say this again. I have no problem with somebody who's rich. I have no
no,
problem with somebody who wants to be rich. I have no problem, and I don't have any problem with somebody who's super rich that goes, you know what? I busted my ass. You should bust yours. I got no problem with that. I have a problem with rich, super rich, and politicians that go, I'm here, but I'm going to make sure I keep you down
yeah,
from taking
absolutely.
what I've got. When
Yeah.
it's not yours to begin with, it's everyone's.
When they
Everybody
could
has.
easily, with their billions, be Bruce
Mhm.
Wayne, and they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
We should have Batman,
Who the fuck? We should have at least 15 Batmans running around this
and
fucking
we
planet
need
right
Tony
now.
Stark. I mean, come on, all this money.
Couple of Tony
We're
Starks, couple of Batman. The closest we got is Elon Musk, for fuck's
no,
sake.
and no, the closest we have is Lex Luthor. Somebody's Lex Luthor, obviously.
Yeah, well,
And
there's a
Jeff
lot of Lex
Bezos kind of
Luthors.
looks like Lex Luthor.
Yeah, it's pretty much a Lex Luthor. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got a lot of those fuckers running around. Where's our fucking Batmans?
yeah.
Come on, billionaires. Step it up.
Get your shit together. Anyway, back to the Alien movie.
Whoever's listening to this show for the first time is like, what the hell are these guys? These guys have
Oh
gone
man.
through 4 movies and started talking about comics.
And now
This,
we on to
this,
politics. Whatever.
this is how Scott and I talk about everything.
Um,
Yeah, politically, this movie never took a side.
no, it just painted a picture and said, "Hey, let your brain put it together," and
Yeah,
that's what I love.
this is what's going on in the world.
Mhm.
And what you fit it to whoever you want to fit it to. And it works. It works really well. I
It
think
works
it's
really well.
probably one of his best movies. I got like a really strong Escape from New York vibe from it.
Oh yeah,
I would have loved now seeing Roddy and Keith together. They're my buddies. I can call them by their first names. Um, I would have loved to have seen those guys in a couple more movies together,
yeah, yeah.
like
That would
buddy
have been
action
good.
movies, because they fit together perfectly.
They
I
were.
thought.
They had great chemistry.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
Kind
great
of bad
chemistry.
that Roddy Piper's passed away. Too bad.
Yeah, I got a quick story about that, and it still irks me, and I'm still mad at Roddy Piper. I went to a horror movie convention,
Uh-huh.
and Roddy was there,
Really?
and every time I passed by his table, he was gone off talking to somebody else, and I
Right.
kept going back by, and I'd see him down a hallway somewhere, and then he'd come back, and he never was at his table. It's like, fuck it, I'll catch him at the next convention. No,
Right.
he died,
No.
and I was
Oh,
like, no,
you bastard!
Roddy. Yeah, I just remember growing up watching Piper's Pit on
Yeah.
wrestling, where he'd have his little talk show in the middle. It's just so great, so crazy. He's a great character, and he brought so much of that to this movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he did.
it was never really over the top.
No. No.
No,
Not believable, but not unbelievable. Not
yeah,
like when they switched over to
contacts.
the contact lenses. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You gonna put those in with your dirty fingers? Is all I'm
yeah.
thinking. You're not gonna wash and get some solution? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have hell of a time putting on contacts. These guys never wore them. Boop, boop.
Yeah.
No, 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 no,
Down
no, no.
right in, no problem.
No, good.
Uh,
Yeah, wish it
but
was
yeah,
that
I
easy.
thought it was pretty good. I liked the movie. It was a little slow. I mean, like I think if they were gonna make it now, you'd put a little bit more action in it. Um,
It did have a long lead, but once it
yeah, it
got
had a long
rolling,
lead, but it worked. I mean, it absolutely worked for the payoff. It absolutely
I
worked
think
for
they
the
kind of
payoff.
needed that. I think he kind of
Yeah.
needed to see what was going because he had so much going on. The movie could have
Mhm.
actually been a little longer,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
definitely.
because you had all the resistance and stuff. But I think the way it's done, it brings the watcher in time with Roddy Piper's character. So when
Right.
he discovers it, you're discovering it, and it's like you're right there with him. And
Yeah, because when the cops come in and start taking out the shanty town, you're like, what the fuck? What are these guys about? Because you don't know. Like, I
you don't
knew.
realize they're a resistance army.
Yeah, I knew, but I didn't. Like, if you were watching this back in the '80s, you would have not known what was going on. You'd have been like,
Yeah.
the hell's going on? Why are they doing this? And then you come to find out that they are all working for this alien power. And they
Yep.
never really say what I like the one guy's like talking to him. He's like, you guys can join us. And they're like, no, we're not. And he's like, and the guy actually makes almost a common sense deal. Like, well, why not? This is business. This is good. You know,
Yeah, this is
this
business.
is just the way the world is, man. I don't know what the hell the problem is. You might as well enjoy it. And at one hand, I'm like, I can kind of see that argument. And then in the other, I'd put a bullet in his head.
Yeah. You know, here's the thing. I'm going to have issue with the aliens, but the robot overlords, I'll be your Gaius Baltar any day.
Robot or overlords, I'm fine with. I'm fine with that. I get it. You guys
aliens?
have no
We got a
choice in
problem.
the matter. Scott and I, we're your number 2 guy, 1 and 2 guy, right and left. The hammer and anvil if need be. Not like that. That's
Yeah. I thought you said sickle for a second. I said, David, are you feeling all right?
sickle. Hell no.
I don't go that far to the left.
Fuck the commies. And their mamas.
I'm not following Vermont Jesus.
Vermont Jesus. Oh.
Okay, that's about as political as I'm going to get today.
I've never heard him called that.
You knew who I was talking about.
Oh, that's what I'm going to call him from now on.
Me too. Once I heard it, it was perfect. It's like,
that's funny.
awesome.
But no, I think this is probably. I'm trying to get us back to the movie because that's funny, man. Here we are. Where is it going?
It's a good flick with aliens.
Yeah, and they never really say what the aliens are there for. They never made it clear. Like they never make it 100% clear. What
No, they did. That one guy did talk about how they're here. They're taking the resources and moving on. So
Yeah,
I got the
resource?
impression that I don't know. They
Gold,
never
water,
went into that. Yeah.
Coin, you know.
It wasn't good. I mean, whatever
they were doing, they were up to no good. I mean, they weren't there helping anybody out.
They did mention that they were changing the atmosphere. They were terraforming the
That's
atmosphere.
right, they did. That the atmosphere.
So
was
everybody,
changing.
and that just goes into whole greenhouse gases and stuff. And,
for
and
the
whole
last
climate change argument.
Since the 60s, they've been talking about that.
Yeah. So it fits in with. It takes a little tiny bit of science and a whole bunch of conspiracy and says, we can tie
and
this
it all
together.
worked. It was a good story.
It worked perfectly.
Well put together. I like whenever they finally do what they're doing and you can see the aliens. It's very interesting. But they had that whole movie, no breasts, no
until the very end.
The very last, like one of the very last scenes, the woman's breasts are all over the screen.
It's the 80s. Let's get gratuitous.
Yeah, we just looked over at each other and we're like, really? They did this whole movie with nothing, and all of a sudden, boom.
Completely unnecessary. I get the scene. It was kind of comical, but really?
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
It's like, what? Why would you do that? You didn't have to do that.
It was the 80s.
Coming out of the bathroom with a robe on. You didn't need. That was funny. That was.
It was the 80s. Remember, that brought us teenagers getting it on in a furniture store in a mall.
In a mall that had a hardware store that sold paint, and guns,
and robots. Anyway,
and robots.
So, final thoughts on They Live.
We need more movies like that.
Yes.
Like Chopping Mall. They Live. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. This is probably one of the few movies that Scott and I haven't ruined for anybody. So.
It's the only one.
Yeah, it is the only one, isn't it? Like we have
spoiled every single movie. I'm not talking about the ending.
No, this is a good movie. I really like it. I like the ending. It gives you stuff to think about. I liked the whole science of the glasses really worked for me well, because when he puts the glasses on, the world is black and white.
Yeah.
Did you catch that little metaphor? It's all black and white.
Right there. Right, but it was black and white.
Yeah,
that brings me to something. He's at the newsstand, and there's a little spinner rack of softback books. Edgar Casey,
Yes.
renowned psychic from, I think, the 20s.
Yeah, the
Um,
sleeping psychic.
yes, very fascinating man. If you haven't read anything by Casey, please go look it up because it's pretty wild.
He told them
And
where they'd find the Bermuda Road,
yeah, and the
and
Bermuda
they did.
Triangle. Yes. So I was like, look at that. How cool
Yep.
was that? So there's a lot of Easter eggs. I bet I can go through and watch again and find even more.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was waiting for him to turn around and pick up that book, and it would nothing would be changed in it.
That would have been wild.
That would have been a nice touch. That would have been like, oh, you're doing something there.
Yeah.
I was halfway waiting for him to do that.
Yeah. That was cool. That was cool. So my thoughts, go watch it. I haven't seen this since the 80s. This quickly has become one of my favorite Carpenter films. I put it right up there with Escape and Big Trouble in Little China.
I'm with you.
This is a good movie. I love it. I will definitely watch it again. I'm disappointed in myself for renting it instead of buying it.
Yeah, I'll probably wind up getting the Blu-ray because it has some extras on it that the DVD does not.
That's
So I'll
a good
probably just spend
idea.
the extra money and buy the Blu-ray. Yeah, I will put it up there with Big Trouble in Little China for a little bit of that humor. It never gets too serious.
No, it doesn't go to that
and
level.
It
Yeah.
never gets too funny.
Yeah.
There are very funny scenes in it, like that fight scene is monstrous in the alley.
It's great.
It's fantastic. But that when I just love when he walks into the bank. I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm fresh out of bubble gum. Click clack, boom,
Boom!
just starts shooting all the aliens.
It was awesome. It was absolutely
Yeah,
awesome.
it was very good.
So if you've made it through this review, you have just witnessed the first one we have never spoiled.
Whenever you post this, you're going to have to post it up there with no spoilers.
No spoilers.
They live. Everything else, the other movies we talked about, we spoiled.
We didn't spoil Godzilla.
No, dude, you're right.
We just spoiled the Mecha Godzilla was there.
Right.
And we sure as hell couldn't spoil Justice League because we haven't finished it.
We haven't finished watching it yet. So that's good. No spoilers. Folks, look at that.
This is the first spoiler-free episode. Well, not spoiler-free, but
freaking phenomenal.
No giant spoilers.
No giant.
So, speaking of giants, next week we're going to visit one of my favorite found footage films. It's called Troll Hunter, and we're going to jump the 1980s time frame into 2011, just because this is such a fun movie. And when it comes to found footage, a lot of people think Blair Witch, and I don't find the Blair Witch to be a decent movie at all. I'm not a fan of it.
Through it.
This is so much fun, and I really enjoy it. And it has giant monsters, so giant trolls.
Cool. I'm looking forward to this one.
It's got a lot of humor, and it's got some great effects, and it's a good one. And please join us. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Write us a comment. Send us an email. All the links are there in our show notes under on Instagram, IGTV. Yeah,
give us
SA
a like.
Warner 13 or Buster Crash on Instagram.
Go ahead and give us a like. And if you're listening to us on a podcast, there you can go say if you like what you hear on any of our stuff. Go ahead and leave a review. 5-star review couldn't hurt us. I don't know what a 5-star review does because
It helps us get found. It helps other people
helps
find
us get found. It'll help us be found by more people.
Yes.
Scott and I are lost.
We're lost. We do this because we love. Yeah, we do this because we love movies. As Dave says, we watch bad movies, so you don't have to. But occasionally we throw some gems in, like today.
Yes.
And those are always fun when we really enjoy it and have something to talk about. But it
was really hard not to spoil the movie. It's like really hard not to, because I want to tell everybody this movie, like, oh my God, this and this happened. But if I do that, this is one of the movies that I just don't want to spoil for anybody.
No, I want people to go back and watch.
I thoroughly enjoy it. Roddy Piper was a much better actor than I thought he'd be.
Yeah.
Very good actor.
Yeah, so it's well done, it's well shot, it's typical. It's a John Carpenter film.
Yes.
It's got a great soundtrack, great music. It's Carpenter all the way. And if you're a fan of John Carpenter, which you should be, you'll like this movie.
And if you're not,
So-
what's wrong with you, Kami?
What's wrong with you? There's got to be at least one Carpenter you like.
Yeah,
Because he is
he's done
such
enough.
he's done enough, and he's very varied.
Mhm.
So
Very.
So with that being said, we will catch you next week with the Norwegian film Troll Hunter. Till
Troll
then,
Hunter.
take care.